Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show. The variety of guests I've had for recording and taping 6 hours of TV, radio. It's just a tremendous experience. 3 hours, 6 episodes, 3 hours. It's just a tremendous experience. Go to my website, toldtutor.net for more information. Twitter, Told Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook, LinkedIn, Neil Haley, Instagram, Told Tutor, and Pinterest, Neil Haley, and Google+. When I go and put on Facebook, all the people that I interviewed. I'm probably going to put posting it on Monday because I'm probably just going to just tweet out in Facebook 3 hours today of television. Wow. And I still could keep going. I could go all day. I always wanted the marathon of interviews to do 24 hours. It would be the most fun in the world because it's just something great because you get to learn from such important people. So we've had one CEO on. Let's add another one to the mix. So I'm excited to welcome to the program Justin Gibson, president of Vom Foss. Justin, thanks for calling and thanks for coming on the Neil Haley Show and simulcasting with the Total Education Network Radio. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Neil. Thanks so much for having me on. Very excited to join you in this. Sounds like fun.
Oh, it definitely sounds like fun because I always like to learn about companies and learn about specific things. And it seems like I'm going back to the roots of when I first started the Total Education Hour in the radio studios where I would interview different brands and franchises and different things. So I'm glad to kind of go back into that realm again because everything interests me to learn from specific people. So before we jump into what you do, Justin, your whole life, did you think you would be a president of a company? Is that something that you envisioned when you were a child?
No, I would probably say that's not exactly what my vision was. However, I wasn't. It's not too far from who I was at the base. I mean, I've always enjoyed great ideas and innovations and been very entrepreneurial throughout my childhood and early adulthood. So I've always enjoyed being in business and growing something great and nurturing a great idea.
So how did you learn entrepreneurship at a young age? Who taught you? Was your family have an entrepreneurial mindset?
Definitely. My father was a big role model in that. He had owned his own businesses throughout his career, whether it be a bookstore or he had some other businesses along the way on the side as we were kids and things like that. So I'd always seen his entrepreneurial spirit, and mine kind of took off from there naturally with, the basics, sort of having your own lawn mowing business and that sort of thing, and then into college and such, tried a little bedlock business with a friend of mine. So yeah, definitely in my vein.
Do you think watching an entrepreneur growing up, Justin, helps you in that process? I think that's why we don't have that many entrepreneurs in this country, or that are self-employed and this is their business and things like that, because they don't really see anyone modeling this. Getting to see your dad work in the trenches or work is a great role model for you to see that, right, growing up. Because a lot of times we don't see our fathers work. We don't understand what they do and stuff. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm actually lucky enough to have my father now as my business partner. So even better that way.
In the story of those things. So once you knew this is something I'm probably going to want to do is entrepreneurship and different things, when you were going through school, how did you kind of study up on things, especially in high school and elementary and middle school and stuff? Were there books you were already reading on entrepreneurship or different people that were role models of yours because of that kind of mindset you had?
Yes, and I think just a general development of leadership and work skills is also very important. Creating your own little business like lawn mowing and trying to recruit people and those sorts of things. Those are great practices, as well as I was a clerk at the local grocery gas station place, and that taught me a lot of the personal interaction skills, management skills, responsibilities, and then America's full of entrepreneurial spirit, and it does take courage to do, but it's also extremely rewarding. And I think as you get to reap the rewards of your own hard work, you can really appreciate that.
Definitely, reaping the rewards of your hard work in those ways, lawn mowing business, and seeing that you had to provide a great service. I had someone,
Exactly.
my brother-in-law mowed my lawn in my house for so long, and then I hired a company, and he decided to have someone else do it for him, and it wasn't a great job. Won't mention that company on air, trust me, because he promises he'll fix it up. But my wife comes home and says, "What? So Justin, if you didn't mow lawns well, you knew that quality of service was important then, right? Once you were doing that."
Absolutely. Yeah, that's how you grew your business. You know, the neighbor looked across and saw that his neighbor's yard was getting mowed nicely, and would talk to him about it, and that's how you grow your business. And you learn how to get out and promote yourself and sell your business.
Definitely. So Justin, through that process and then going on, what did you major in college? When you said you went on to college after high school and stuff, right?
Economics.
Economics. Okay. What school did you graduate from?
University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
Okay. And so you're economics, and then at that point in time, did you go and work in the private sector before kind of developing in some of the entrepreneurship ventures?
Yeah, in between my undergrad and my master's, I worked in a restaurant business for a while,
okay.
And grew myself up from serving to catering manager and then to general manager. And that was actually ended up in the general manager role in a franchise business, which kind of cut my teeth in the world of franchising, and certainly in customer service and the importance of that.
That's really interesting, because you learned firsthand from your father with his. You said he had a bookstore. Then you went into the process of the restaurant business, and having economics as your undergrad, and what is your master's in MBA? Did you get an MBA?
No, the master's was in economics as well.
Oh, economics as well. You were learning about, you probably are the kind of person when you started your first business, you're really looking at the numbers. You were definitely, I'm sure, a numbers guy. That's saying, you know what, okay, this doesn't make sense number-wise. When you see some people say, oh yeah, we'll be fine. You see so many businesses fail because they don't look at the opening cost and stuff like that. So from economics, you kind of could choose what's the best field to go into. And when you were in the restaurant business, was it a hot business at that time, the restaurant business, when you were involved in it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it continues to be a hot business. The restaurant world is a great, fun, and engaging world. But I've actually enjoyed the move over to retail as a bit simpler version of that, and the customer experience at Vom Fox is so amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Love the customers' love of it.
Well, that's great. I can't wait to hear about that. But always looking at the journey as we're get the opportunity to talk for 26 minutes, Justin. I'm able to take that first segment, figure out your passion, and why you're doing what you love now. So it's a lot of ways we have to go and have our experiences in life and take our journey in certain ways. My journey is this very strange journey to going and playing college basketball, to becoming a professional wrestler, then going on and becoming a teacher, then owning a tutoring and consulting company, and then getting back into the entertainment field, and as now just an entrepreneur as well, to learn through all my experiences. And then those experiences teach us to do what we love now. It's such an important thing.
Absolutely.
And that's what it sounds like for you as well, Justin. So you went in the restaurant game. You had success in the restaurant game. What made you want to, partner with your father for Vom Fox? Give us that story.
After I had just such an amazing tasting, and it really opened my eyes to such a different world of taste and experience, and I was also able to get so many gifts for everybody in one place. It just really resonated with me. And then the memory of knowing that I wanted to start a business with Dad, I just knew that this was what we were going to do, to get the idea home to him. And then after a couple of years of due diligence and figuring out how to bring the alcohol concept in the U.S., we were able to bring the concept over together, and it's been been the reception we had hoped for.
All right, well, it's a tremendous story to say the least, and then finding something. And I guess you partnered together your idea of the restaurant business and understanding the taste, and then his tastes in the retail game and books, and putting those two things together makes a very formidable group to go and take it to the U.S. for sure. That's what it sounded like in the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you're right. You were right before when you were mentioning, sort of the holistic experience that you have in your life. It's amazing some of the pieces that you end up bringing together in a future endeavor you never really would have guessed would have had application in the future, and somehow it really all lends itself together to make it successful.
Definitely, Justin. So in that process, when we get back, we're going to kind of jump right into more about, I guess, starting it out in the U.S. and then the whole franchise experience in certain aspects, and how it's the growing franchises are coming in the U.S. in so many ways. And that process is interesting, and I kind of want to explain, because we see franchise opportunities everywhere, Justin, in all types of businesses. What in your economic game, and you, as a business expert in so many ways in economics, understand what's a good choice to go ahead and purchase a franchise, and which ones are the right ones? What makes a successful one and not? Okay, you're watching the Neil Haley Show. When we get back, more of Justin Gibson, president of Von Foss. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, my name's Jim Corns, and this is John Bauer, and we're paramedics with Tri-Community South EMS.
This year, EMS Week is May 17th through May 23rd. Tri-Community South EMS would like to use this week to start our campaign on distracted driving.
Distracted driving has been called an epidemic. Unfortunately, many of us drive distracted. So what is distracted driving?
It is driving while engaged in any activity that could divert a person's attention away from the prime task of driving.
Texting, making phone calls, putting on makeup, reaching for objects, changing the CD or radio channel is part of an endless list that put us at risk. The following statistics should make each of us think about making changes in the way we drive or ride in a car. In 2012, over 3,000 people were killed and 421,000 were injured as a result of distracted driving.
In 2011, it was estimated that at a typical daylight moment, at least 660,000 cars were being driven by drivers using handheld cell phones.
40% of teenagers have been in a car with a person using a cell phone while driving in a way that put others in danger. Driving while using a cell phone reduces the amount of brain activity devoted to driving by 37%.
Change the way you drive. Speak up for your safety.
Drive without texting or talking on your cell phone. Make calls or texts prior to driving. Pull over to a safe location to text or check emails. Stop texting or talking on cell phones to others that are driving. It all starts with you.
In honor of EMS Week, Tri-Community South would like to thank and recognize our staff for the work they do in keeping our community safe. For more information on Tri-Community South EMS, our CPR classes, or our Speakers Bureau, visit tcsems.org.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show, and a very great, interesting story with Justin Gibson, president of Von Foss, how in Germany he went and discovered something that really attracted him to want to take it to the U.S. So once you tell us a little conversation you went with your father, once you said you saw this opportunity and said to him, "Let's do this." What was that conversation like?
Well, he was a bit in disbelief, as you can imagine. His son had come back from a graduate summer abroad program in Europe and had the great business idea. And so at first he had not experienced it for himself, so he needed a bit more convincing than just my word that it was wonderful. So he ventured over to Germany himself, meeting Johannes Kerlin, our founder over there, and got a tour of our production facilities there and really learned the history and the depth of relationships that we have with our artisan producers from throughout the world. And then through all of that, he really convinced himself of just how wonderful and amazing the products and the concept and how wonderful they really are. And that really convinced him and got him on board that this really is just a great idea and a great thing to do.
So was he still in the book business when he made this decision to go with you and Vom Foss?
No, he'd been done with the book. He'd done another business in between then, and he'd actually been working with the federal government on some community and rural development business projects, and so he'd actually taken early retirement and was in a great place to do this with me.
So, Justin, once you decide to purchase a franchise and bring it to the U.S., tell us specifically enough, how was the support? Because one thing when I think about franchises, before I decided to start my own tutoring and consulting company, I thought of buying a franchise. Went to my brother-in-law, had a conversation with him, and he was like, I can't put that kind of money down. Luckily, I built a brand that now seems like a franchise, and talking to two franchisees today makes me an idea at one point maybe I will try to make Total Tutor a franchise in expansion when I grow too large. But when you think about it, what types of support did you have, especially when just learning very little, but enjoyed the experience of Vom Foss once you took it to the U.S.?
Sure. Well, we did quite a bit to continue the process of learning and educating ourselves on the system. We went over and spent time at Vom Foss headquarters in the Bavarian region of Germany, and learned about taste and products and conceptually about scotches and brandies, oils and vinegars, and all of the different product assortments. And then we actually spent time in the shops over there in Europe, actually learning from the shop owners and seeing the daily operations, learning best practices, and then brought all that back to the States. And then actually Thomas Sterling, Johannes' son, came over with the international CEO and spent quite a bit of time here, a couple months, helping us get the first store open, making sure we had all that depth of product knowledge and systems that they had developed in Europe for best practices to make sure we were ready to get going and get going quickly.
How important was it to have the people at Vom Foss help you get started? Because you purchase franchises sometimes. Here's the thing. Here's our but we aren't going to give you any direction. This is something that definitely gave direction for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, and the critical element of Vom Foss is its products. It is the relationships that we have with the generational families who have been producing our oil. You know, they've had these olive vineyards for generations, or Armagnac producers. Literally, you know, I've met the family, 6 different generations long, still producing this Armagnac. And Johannes developed these close relationships with these artisan, unique craft distillers, and having that is just huge. You can't duplicate that from here in the U.S. So having this product supply and then the uniqueness of concept of the sampling of everything in bulk, so people can choose their own container and only buy as much or as little as they want, and so the experience of taste with the quality of products and the systems they had developed were hugely important and would have taken us, many, many years to, probably 10, 20 years to try and duplicate, and we probably still would have fallen short. So definitely a critical element to work with Vom Foss in Germany.
Many moons it would have took you for this idea. And then educating the buying public in the United States, was that a challenge about the products?
Certainly. Yeah, we've found ourselves on the front end of many, many trends. Similar to myself, a lot of people don't have a great opinion of vinegar, and so the idea of tasting vinegar by itself is often, a little nervous. People don't quite trust it until they have that taste and they're blown away. But we found ourselves on the front end of vinegar cocktails now they're making, or vinegar drinks, shrubs, and then also the Mediterranean diet trend, and craft cocktails and wine, of course, continues to be strong. So we've found ourselves, as a trendsetter, and then teaching people about that. People don't know what a shrub is necessarily, and so we are a great resource to educate people. We take people on Scotch tours just right there in the store. We have 10 different Scotches for tasting, so we'll take you on a tour of from northern Scotland, the Highlands, down to the Islay region, and teach you the difference. And what when you hear the word peaty Scotch, we'll teach you what that means. That's part of what we do, is our education and helping people explore new tastes and products from around the world that are just unique and quite amazing.
And that's the thing, is the products that are found around the world is what makes Von Foss different from other types of businesses involving, certain types of the products that you have, because they're just so interesting. Sure. When you talk about Scotch, and how many people are interested in really talking about the history of it and how it ages, or what makes this such a better option, and how can you find this real interesting product that really you can't find in your corner store, right? That's the fun thing about this, and that your store, how it offers that education and taking you places, for sure, in so many ways. And when you look at all the different, from the wines, the spices, the spirits, the vinegars, the oils, it's a wide variety of different things. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not like, okay, we're just focusing on the wines and the other spirits. We're focusing on things that people love in their cooking, that what makes European cooking great, compared to the U.S. in so many ways.
Absolutely, yeah. Von Foss is German for from the cask, so that kind of ties everything together. The cask-aged vinegars, the cask-aged wines, the cask-aged spirits, and so that kind of formed the basis of the concept. And then from there, you're right, it's finding all the unique, interesting, unusual tastes of the highest quality from the Mediterranean, and from that European area, of just delicious products that really have had the time taken by the artisans themselves. I mean, these producers truly are artisans. You meet them, and they have such a passion and drive to produce these products. And just the quality that is derived from that is just outstanding. And these are people who truly took the time to make the product right.
That customer experience is so important. And the store, where is that located in the United States? Either Von Foss store. Where is that?
We actually have 25 stores throughout the U.S.
Okay.
Yep. So we're actually pretty well established, but expanding quickly as well. So,
what areas is there any near? You don't have one in Pittsburgh, do you? I would have not.
No, I'm sorry, not one in Pittsburgh yet. You guys have most of your spirits, I believe, sold by state-controlled liquor stores.
Oh, that's what slows it down.
A little difficult there.
Yeah. So, is there one in Ohio or West Virginia or somewhere where people? You have a shop there in Ohio or West Virginia?
Just on the other side of Columbus in Kentucky, Crestview, Kentucky, we have a shop. Wonderful franchise partners down there, Jeff and Jim, and they have a great shop there in Crestview.
Interesting. And so you take what you've done and then adding more franchisees shops across. So kind of for our listeners to understand this more, and viewers, you have taken the company Von Foss to the U.S. and then have given franchisee opportunities for shops in the U.S., correct? Am I on the right direction of how it's kind of... Exactly. So that you've partnered with Von Foss Germany, bringing it to the U.S., and now you're looking for more franchisees, operators to come with you to Von Foss, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're we're expanding throughout the country and looking for other excellent franchise business partners who want to bring Bonfos to their community and really enjoy that inner people, educating people on a love of food and drink, involved in that, bringing that world to other people who really can run a great shop and like that intimate sort of environment.
Okay, so where's the best place we can find information on you, learn more about Bonfos and everything? Where can we go?
VomfosUSA.com, VOMFASS USA.
Well, fantastic. Best of luck, Justin, with all your ventures, and it's quite interesting, and I'll have to check out all the different shops, and when I'm in that city, come by and check it out and make sure I'll use the social media saying, hey, Justin, this is where I'm at right now, checking out one of the shops. So thanks for calling.
I look forward to that, Neil. You will, I promise, have an outstanding time, and you'll be very impressed, and you'll love it.
All right, well, take care. Good talking to you.
Thank you.
All right, that was the Neil Haley Show. Go to my website, toldtutor.net for more information. Twitter, toldtutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook. And what a great show. Look forward to next week's show with some more great guests on the Neil Haley Show. Who will be next? You have to tune in to check it out. Good day, everyone.
I grew up in a sports family. From a very young age, I was exposed to sports in a great way. My uncle was on the first pro basketball team in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Ironmen. My cousins played baseball in the Army. I got to see them pitch at Fort Knox in Louisville, Kentucky. And my dad, of course, that was my hero. He was a basketball referee for over 30 years. Met a lot of great people. Have any of you ever heard of George Couples? He was a man who used to call our house and schedule my dad for City League basketball games. Just been a passion in my life, and as I got older I found out about horses, and I ended up owning a stable. And I was asked to be on a sports show with Roger Houston called the Meadows Racing Network. Watching Roger Houston direct and even produce this show. And when we were done, I said, boy, that'd be something great. Maybe someday I could have a TV show. Back in 2011, I had a conversation with some friends about sports that piqued my interest in how could we start a sports talk show on TV? Well, I found out I could go to public access TV in Bethel Park and I'd be able to produce my own sports talk TV show. The great thing about doing 2 sports talk shows on BPTV is I can share my passion about sports with thousands of people every week. If you are passionate about something that you would like to share with the community, I encourage you to come to BPTV and produce a show like I do. I'm Al Levine, volunteer producer of Pittsburgh Sportsline on BPTV.